Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More. We're at the Laundromat. We're going to see if we did better than last week, which was just awful, even though we had a record at our other laundromat. And we took the car out today, even though it's been snowing a little bit. Not sure that was the best idea, but I didn't know it was going to snow today. Anyway, it's been fun. We did some live videos with it on my other channel, Mark's House of Cars. But we're really interested to see how many quarters we have in here. And I know my last video here was kind of weird and had a wonky frame rate or something. I think it was my computer just freaking out because I had a lot of stuff going on. So we'll make sure it's a little better this week, and we're gonna try some different stuff as well. So far, it's definitely been busier, so I think it's gonna be way better than it was, but we'll see how many quarters are actually in those boxes and count those up. Okay, so you wanted to see the sweet camera setup I have. That's how I look when I'm collecting quarters. I got a new, well, it came with a strap, but I haven't used it yet, so maybe that'll help stabilize it some, and it won't be so shaky. We'll see. Okay, starting off, we had a really good sign. Oh, there's one in there. We've used all the quarters from last week and put them in the change machine already. And so it's only been, well, that was 6 days. Normally we don't ever do that. Normally we have quarters left over every week. But last week was also really bad. So it's really good we got those in, but it would be really bad if we didn't too. So we'll see how much is here after just another day, or how many quarters. Oh, quite a few quarters are gone after just another day. So that's really good. And we'll see how much money is in here. We had 1126, I think, over the weekend, which is way better than the weekend before. The weekend before Christmas, we had 772, which was the least we've had in so long. So we'll count that up. It's really hard to tell how much is there just from looking at the bills, because sometimes there's more 20, sometimes there's not. So I'll try not to spill these everywhere this week like I did last week. That's a good sign. We've got to get quarters. Well, we can just fill this up and then we'll fill that change machine after we do our counts. So we'll leave that open just to make sure it still works for people. We'll check the vending machines. Now the vending machines sometimes do really well, sometimes don't. We have the soap vending machine and the candy vending machine. Now, some people had suggested you put the soap with the candy together in one machine. However, even with my candy and snacks, not just candy, but even with my snacks completely separate from the soap is in a different closet. Sometimes they still taste like soap. Like, the soap just is everywhere in the laundromat. So if you had your candy together with the soap in the same machine, I think it would be pretty disgusting and just completely taste even more like soap. So we'll try not to do that. That was a pretty full box. That was definitely better than last week. Last week was pretty rough. So I put some more stuff in there. I do need to restock pretty soon. I spared showing you all the details this time. And then the soap machine, we'll check this to see how much is in here. Last week there was quite a bit from the soap machine. The week before, not so much. Again, just there seems to be no rhyme or reason, just if people remember to bring their soap or not, I guess. And that's okay. Definitely not as much soap used as last week. Last week was pretty sparse, but it's better than some weeks we've had too. So we'll count all that. Last week I also found a silver quarter, which was cool. So now I'm like looking for more. And every time I look at one, it's just like 1988. It just looks old. So those silver ones, it's hard to describe it, but a lot of times they just kind of stand out as different. And then I think I see them from then on, and oh geez, I'm counting the vending machine and someone used dimes, which hasn't happened for a while. We used to see quite a bit of dimes and nickels and stuff in there, but it's been almost all quarters. Once in a while we'll see dollar coins in there too, but try and save those dimes from shooting everywhere. So 221, that's really good from the vending machine. That's why I'm running low on snacks, and we'll try and get all the dimes that shot everywhere. And we'll see what's left in the vending machine. It was very sparse. After I put it in there, I'm like, ooh, that's not very much. And then another dime fell out of there. So I don't know if that dime was still like in the vending machine from the, or was still there from the vending machine. That's what I'm trying to say. But you can't use a dime in the soap machine. So it did not come from there. 90, not that great. So we'll put that on our chart. We'll show you everything we've got there. And then of course, the more exciting part is checking the washers and dryers and seeing if we did better than last week, which I think we have to have done better because it was so awful. And based on what was in the change machine, I think we did way better too. So we had $768 in the change machine during the week. We had $1,126 over the weekend. So almost $1,900. And this is definitely better than last week. So I already emptied these once this week. And when I emptied them earlier this week, it was better. So that's a good sign. So we took in more cash. Last week we took in almost, was it $1,500 in some cash? It was almost very short. So everything's pointing to last week just being a weird anomaly. I don't know what happened because the week before was really good. Last week over Christmas, that's kind of the Christmas week, the small laundromat broke a record, had more money in it than ever before. And this laundromat had the least amount of money we've had in it in months and months. So it's very strange. And it seems to have bounced back this week. Last week I also talked about the possibility of a new laundromat taking away my business, which I thought, maybe some, but it seemed like that was a lot of business to take away, 25% drop. So I don't think that was it either. I think it was just a weird thing. It all happened over the weekend. I don't know, maybe the fire department had our parking lot blocked off for part of the weekend or something crazy. Who knows? But this weekend was busy. It's been busy this week. So that's really good to see. Way more money in the boxes. That's really good to see. My guys were there working on a few things. The washers, a couple of them have been vibrating like crazy. And so they're the ones we installed ourselves and maybe we don't really know what we're doing. But we're reading up on it and there's some adjustments you can make. But the tricky thing is different years have different adjustments and some are completely different than other types of washers. And so we're having a hard time figuring out exactly what was going on and what was causing it. But we think maybe that's what happened to some of the washers that were down. When we installed them, they didn't have the vibration adjustment done correctly and they vibrated too much and broke themselves. So you live and you learn, I guess, but we're trying to figure that out. They also added some insulation to my dryer room. We'll show you that and talk about that room because it gets freezing in there. And when I first started this laundromat, I decided that I was smarter than some of the laundromat experts and mechanical experts, and I still think that in one instance, maybe not the other thousands of instances. But what happened was, when I first opened, we got everything repaired and done and thought everything was good. Of course, I was using some really awful laundromat repair guys at that time, and so I couldn't really trust anything they did. But we had a really, really cold, windy weekend. It was below zero, and the dryer room, you've got to have space behind your dryers, tons of fresh air coming in, because they just need a lot of air for the, combustion, all of that. Another quarter that's nothing. And there were literally like 3 or 4 just completely open windows. That's how they're built, just completely open in this laundromat when I got it. And I actually talked to the previous owners because they still come in to do laundry sometimes and have actually been a great help. But they said they had the same issue, that their dryers would just stop working. And so that weekend, like 6 or 8 of the dryers just stopped working. It had error codes. And I had some better laundromat repair guys at that time, and they thought it was all motherboards. And so we replaced a bunch of motherboards, spent quite a bit of money. I still have the old motherboards too, which is good because they might still be good. And that seemed to fix it for a little while. And then a month or 2 later, we had another really cold weekend. Same thing happened. A bunch of the ones that they had fixed and were brand new were pulling door codes. And I talked to people online. I talked to these guys, and like everyone's like, nope, that can't happen. Cold air can't hurt electronics or your dryers or whatever. And me being who I am, I said, I don't believe you. And so we closed up some of those windows. We still left plenty of fresh air, but we made some kind of temporary doors to close some of the windows when it got crazy cold out. And as soon as we did that, they started working again. And we've had a couple of cold spells since then. They've worked every time. We've never had that issue. So again, maybe it's a complete coincidence. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think that if those machines got too cold, and we're talking really cold, like, you know, maybe even below zero in that room with the wind blowing and it's so cold outside, they stopped working, and I think that was the issue. So we have never had that problem since then. Everything's been good. But again, I could be wrong, could be, you know, just coincidence, but I sure think it fixed things. So anybody else has that problem, maybe you're getting too much cold air coming in. And I know, God, the recommendation for those dryers is to have like a foot of open space for each dryer or something crazy. It might be, don't take my word for it, I'm just making stuff up. But it's something ridiculously huge. And you have to have just almost a wide open room if you follow the guidelines, which means you're basically the same temperature as outside. So long story short, my whole story is we had my guys come in, put some insulation between the dryer tops and the laundromat itself because it was getting so cold in the laundromat from that room because we had some pretty big air gaps. So we're trying to save on our heating bills. We also switched one of the dryers around, which I've been meaning to do for a while. I'll show you that too. And like I said, they're trying to fix a couple of machines. One of the machines we're still waiting on a part for. That hopefully is coming soon. But there's just always going to be some machines broken. I'm just going to have to be okay with that. Okay, so we are counting our big machines. First here, I know I've just been talking about other stuff besides the quarters, but I have one separate bucket for my bigger machines, my 40-pounder and bigger machines, and another bucket for my 30-pounder and smaller machines. Again, another quarter that was nothing. And I don't know why. I empty the big machines twice a week, so it just kind of makes sense to put it all in the same bucket. I can tell already this is so much better than last week. My buckets are so much fuller, so that's a really good sign. I was really hoping we weren't going to have just a bunch of down weeks in a row while the other laundromat had their 50% off sale or whatever. And honestly, I don't even know for sure if they're having a 50% off deal for the first month. That's just what one of my customers told me. I never checked it out myself. So we were counting these quarters, and I was thinking if we can get to 3,000 quarters from just the big washers, that'd be a good week and give us a chance to get to 6,000 quarters total, which would be a good week too. Last week we had less than 5,000 quarters, so that was pretty rough and pretty bad, and I wasn't super thrilled with that. I also know it's a better week because it's harder to lift that bucket and dump it in there than it was last week. That's a good sign. If it's hard to lift that bucket, because I think if we have 6,000 quarters, that's 1,500. That's, I forget. How much does... How much do 6,000 quarters weigh? 75 pounds. So between those two buckets, if we have 6,000 quarters, it's 75 pounds. So it's quite a bit. And we got to 3,000. So quite a bit more than 3,000. So that's really cool to see. All right, the other issue we talked about last week was my reviews on Google and how I had gotten some bad reviews and I couldn't reply to them. So I totally missed the boat on that. So first thing first, someone commented and said my business is listed as a laundry service instead of laundromat. I fixed that, so thank you. So now it does show up as a laundromat. In fact, it shows up on the map better now, I think. And we got a couple more reviews, so thank you to whoever left those reviews. Appreciate it. And I did finally get it verified and was able to respond to some of those reviews too. So I don't know what was going on. This happened with me when I first started the business too. I kept trying to verify it and Google wouldn't let me, so I couldn't add the business to Google. So I had to like say it wasn't my business and respond as someone else randomly and got it on Google at least. Well, this time I tried to verify it. They sent a text to the business number, the phone number they have. I had the code, I sent it to them, they still want to verify it. Had to go make a video of the property, of the cross streets, of the room behind it, showing I had access to it. Did that. And like 3 or 4 days later, they finally verified it, so I could respond to those reviews and add some more pictures and different. I don't think I added my pictures yet. I need to do that. Speaking of that, and can now properly manage my business profile. So hoping to get some more reviews going. I need to talk to some of my customers because everyone I talk to loves it there, but they also are talking to the owner, so they're supposed to say that. But they also haven't been shy about telling me if it's dirty or needs work either. 6,000, 6,100. All right, that's really cool. So things are definitely better this week, and we'll have all that on the chart to show you at the end. And of course, we need to check our dryers and see how much money we have in them as well. And yeah, we'll see if this Google thing helps at all. It's always hard to know what helps and doesn't help, but it definitely can't hurt me to be listed correctly and have better reviews in Google. Now, I've been talking about doing this for a long time, and this is another suggestion from YouTube, so thank you for that. People use the top dryers way more than the bottom ones. I would be one of those people just because from sports and different things, my back sometimes hurts. I don't want to bend over. So we finally switched the motherboard because one of our motherboards is bad. And the lower one doesn't work now, the top one does. But you can see someone still tried to use it even with the out of order sign. So I always like to put those out of order signs over the coin slot because people still try and use them if it's not directly over the coin slot. So hopefully that stays on there. So I think I forgot to reinforce it with more tape. And when the cleaning lady comes and does the lint traps, she's probably going to knock it off and hopefully she puts it back where it goes. I guess we'll find out. But anyway, there were definitely more quarters in that top one than the bottom one usually has. And it's very easy to tell which ones are the top and which ones are the bottoms when you look at these coin boxes and how many quarters are in them. So I'm not the only one that uses or would want to use the top one more. Fun fact, I personally have never used a laundromat to clean my clothes. I have used them to wash rags or towels or supplies that we have. So I don't know if that's good. I've never used one and I own the business. However, my wife has used this laundromat. So we had some big comforters, and instead of taking 10 hours to dry in our dryer at home, she came to the laundromat and did it and said it was so much better and so much faster than doing it at home. Now, of course, I charged her full price. She did not get a good deal. I actually should have charged her more because we're trying to increase our revenues, but I would have had to come change the price on the machines, and that wasn't worth it. But yes, huge misconception that only poor people use laundromats and that it's because they don't have a washer or dryer. Not true. A lot of people use them for big items, and a lot of people use them when they get behind on their laundry and have like 8 loads to do, because you can come in here, stick all of that laundry in one machine, and do your laundry in an hour, maybe 2, instead of 8 hours, and save a bunch of time. And it really won't cost you maybe what, 20 bucks, 15 bucks to do that. And then there's also the wash and fold people who use my laundromat. So I don't offer wash and fold myself. We don't do that. I don't want to deal with the hassle. I don't want to take up the space. But we have at least 2 customers, maybe more, that do wash and fold for other people and use our laundromat to do that because I think we have good prices. And so if I have people that ask me, hey, do you guys offer wash and fold? I say, no, we don't. But hey, these people do wash and fold at my business, and give them a call and they'll help you out. And so even though we don't do wash and fold, because we do that and we have customers that do wash and fold for other people, it's kind of like getting revenue for wash and fold a little bit without actually having to do any of it. Now, we don't get as much revenue as you would with wash and fold, but we also don't have to pay anybody, do the expenses, have a POS system, collect all the payments, do all of that. So I think that's a good situation, and we just don't have the room to have wash and fold here. So we'll see what the dryers are. Last week it was like under 1,600, which was awful, just awful. And my camera switched up there because it split up these videos into 2 for some reason, and I didn't quite have the same picture there, if you wonder what happened. So let me know too if this video is better than last week's. To me, it looks pretty good and okay. But then last week, I didn't change anything from the week before. I didn't change anything from my other small laundromat videos, and everyone said it looked awful and had a low frame rate and made them sick. So I don't know if it's just because my computer was overwhelmed and overloaded. It takes a ton of power and space to make these videos and edit them. And so if I have a pretty powerful computer, pretty much a gaming computer with a really good graphics card to do this. If I had a regular computer, I'd just crash it and shut it down all the time. So let me know if it's not working and I'll keep changing it. And I did up the frame rate a little bit on this video too, just a little bit from last week's, and let me know. So over 2200, I know I should have zoomed in there a little better, sorry. But that is way better than last week. And yes, there's my, well, I had 6,000, that's over 8,000 quarters. So that's close to 100 pounds there we're putting on that chair, and we're having faith in it. Like I said before, I was gonna refill all my buckets because over the weekend, people can empty, at least the left machine. We've had it completely empty before, so I wanna get it as full as possible. And then on the right machine, it can be empty too. So if we had a really, really good weekend, there's a chance we could run out of quarters. Now that would be a really cool feat, but also not good for our customers, so I don't want that to happen. But if we got to that point where we were doing that much laundry and we were running out of quarters, that'd be really cool. I'm not sure what I would do at that point, because I don't really feel like coming in every weekend and filling it. But you know, my laundromat in Kersey, the small one, has like an additional thing on top of the original coin hopper, so you can add more quarters and not run out. But I also, these are built for a certain amount. If you did that and add more weight, I don't want to break these, so I don't know, that's tricky. And for the OCD people out there, I am trying to clean up some of my quarter mess. Quarters are extremely hard to pick up. They're super annoying. So there you go. I know I didn't get all of them, but I got some of them, so hopefully that makes you at least slightly happy. All right, we'll add all that up. We'll see what we've got and see how it compares to the last few weeks. I know it's way, way better than last week, that's for sure. Before we look at the sales, here's what I was talking about with the dryers in the back room and where our windows are. So you can see one is broken. We've asked our landlord to fix that for a while because I do rent this space, and we all know landlords are evil. But no, there's the insulation we added, so hopefully that helps keep it a little warmer inside. We had a gas leak a couple weeks ago too. It started smelling like gas in there. Our plumber came over and said, yep, you sure do have a gas leak, so we fixed that. It wasn't anything serious, but still, you don't want a gas leak. And luckily we have tons of fresh air back here too to help, you know, disperse that gas. And he put some insulation on that side too. I was making sure, like that window on the right, completely wide open. It's just a screen, no glass. You can see we added like more foam and stuff just to decrease the size of those windows and keep it slightly warmer in there. Okay, here is our chart. And I also figured out I can make my chart a little bit more full screen or size than it was before. So I know it's still like a little wonky and not perfect fit, but hey, baby steps, we're making progress. Open in December 2023, it's now 2025, which is insane. So had a little over a year. I still, at some point, I promised to do a year profit or something video. It's been a little crazy with Christmas and New Year's. You can see we had some plateaus, broke through them, had some more plateaus, broke through them, had some more plateaus. And it's just been interesting how that's happened. And we've had random bad weeks all throughout the year. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised at the random bad week because we've always had those and not sure why. The orange line, I started keeping track of the cash. I also figured out my dark green line didn't say washers before, so now it does. So if anybody's confused about what they are, there you go. Then November, we had a crazy awesome week. That was after we added our new machines. I thought everything was just going to be awesome. And then we had a few random, like not random, but just lower weeks. Then we got back up again. Then we had last week, which was crazy awful. And look, this week we're back almost to 2,200. So really good to see that increase again. Plateau, breakthrough, go down, then slowly come back up. So hopefully we stick around that 2200 or higher mark and, you know, just keep chugging along. We've made some improvements. Obviously the machines are better. I fired one of my cleaners and I had two cleaners who were kind of alternating. And once I fired the one cleaner, it's been a lot cleaner in there, I think, just having one. So that's good, but I'm a little worried I have just one cleaner because if something happens to her, she gets sick, I don't have a backup yet, so I need to figure that out. The Google thing, hopefully that will help and make it a little better. We'll see. And then, you know, there's always some stuff we can do in the future, but it would be a lot more involved, like adding credit card readers or a card system or something like that. That would be pretty intense, expensive process. You could put one on every single machine, which can be very expensive, or you might be able to retrofit a change machine to do it. And maybe, you know, maybe that's our next step. If we get to a point where we're running out of quarters over the weekend or coming close to it, you can get a change machine that accepts credit cards and gives you quarters from the credit card. And I would want that in addition to my change machine now. So maybe we add another change machine and, you know, who knows how much that, probably a few $1,000s to do that. That's the trouble when you keep adding stuff and keep changing things, is all gets very expensive. And at some point you'd like to kind of, you know, relax, not spend as much money and make some money, not just spend all your profits on doing other, you know, making the business better. So maybe that's an option at some point, because I did look into that too. We'll see. But, you know, if we can stay around 2,200 to 2,500, that makes it a pretty profitable business, because I think our break even's around 4,500 to 5,000 a month, assuming we don't have, you know, we're not fixing machines every single day, which really eats into that too. So there you go. There's the laundromat. Hopefully the video looks better. Our sales definitely look better. The business inside, I think, looks better. So yay, much better week. I don't think I have to worry too much about the other laundromat taking all of our customers away. And in fact, maybe we'll get more customers with the Google stuff. Maybe not. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. We'll be back with much more next week. We'll have videos on our other businesses and the Aplex, and I have another property under contract. It's a very interesting, very large commercial property, but there might be some problems with it, just like most things I buy. And of course, we'll have the small laundromat tomorrow, and we'll see how it did after its record week last week.